On this episode of The Clarity Code,
I found that a lot of leaders are really good at what they do. They've got great business ideas, okay? Really innovative, and they're just thinking so outside the box, which is fantastic. But that one basic, who is your customer, question usually gives pause to a lot of these CEOs, especially if they're challenged.
The Clarity Code, presented by Commotion Engine. Clear insights from marketing leaders.
Today on The Clarity Code, we're getting back to the basics. My guest, Richard Turcott, has spent his entire career helping CEOs and founders who admit that they don't know much about marketing. And that's exactly why his approach works. Instead of chasing the shiny tactics and metrics, Richard focuses on the fundamentals that never change: your list, your channel, your offer, and your creative. In this conversation, we're going to break down why these four things matter more than anything else, how to know if you're getting them right, and what happens when you skip the basics. So whether you're a seasoned CMO guiding your team or a company new to marketing, this episode will help you find clarity in the chaos. So Richard, welcome to the Clarity Code.
Thank you very much, Brandon.
You know, over the past couple decades, marketing has really become more complicated with new funnels, new tech, and AI, but the fundamentals, I feel like they haven't changed. So can you tell us why you're so passionate about going back to the basics?
Well, marketing has always been a really complicated function, right? Us marketers, we need to work with just about everyone in every functional area in most organizations. Technology gets thrown at us on a minute-to-minute basis. By the end of this podcast, there will be 5 new AI
No doubt.
solutions.
Yes, all the new
something in marketing,
solutions.
right? So how does one, juggle all those plates and manage a marketing team, bring the organization along for the ride so they know what's happening, why you're executing the different strategies that you are, so that you can enjoy the support that you're looking for to have successful marketing campaigns that drive revenue. And I found that putting work in really early on, focusing on the fundamentals, so that you can then provide more clarity to this complexity that's happening around us. How many marketing channels, how many new marketing channels have you seen over the past 2 years? Now, 2 years might seem like an eternity for a lot of us. It's not that much time. And already we've, enjoying the prevalence of TikTok in addition to other social media sites that are really have exploded for marketing channels for a lot of marketers. Grouping all that together and managing a marketing team to put together efficacious campaigns gets increasingly complicated, right? People, that's pretty standard. You always have people, and there's a lot of people management best practices, right? Process, the same thing. A million different to-dos, to task lists. I use Trello, okay? A million really good, some AI-powered solutions on that side. When it comes to technology, that we're looking at people, process, and technology, when it comes to technology, it's become overwhelming. And any marketer that says they've got their head wrapped around this and they know what's going to happen a year from now, don't listen to them.
No,
they're lying.
no. Yeah, I mean, ever since you were at Constant Contact and some of your other career moves, you've led fractional teams as well with startups. How are you noticing the changes with the ebbs and flows throughout the different types of industries you've worked in?
Well, there's that bright, shiny object effect that you mentioned during the introduction. There's always going to be a bright, shiny object. There's always going to be a new technology that makes grand promises. Where that's happening, what's happening right now is there's always those bright, shiny objects. They never go away, and they're only increasing as the days go by and technology gets more sophisticated. I'm a believer in tech, but back to your original question, unless you understand the fundamentals of marketing, all the tech in the world isn't going to do you much good. Garbage in, garbage out. We've all heard that, and it couldn't be more applicable to today's day and age in the marketing world.
Yeah, so a lot of times we'll have CEOs and founders that have a great product, they're very passionate about it, but they might not think they need the marketing wing of a company. Where are they going wrong, and what can be done to solve for that?
Well, I read something yesterday. Someone was posting something about go-to-market strategy. Market is in that phrase.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you're a startup founder and you've got a really good idea that you're deeply passionate about, where a marketing talent could come in, the right marketing talent would be to really level set some of the expectations that might be in their pro forma P&L, level set the budget that might be necessary to accomplish these grand objectives that the founder and his organization have. And marketers, good marketers, come in and really explain a lot of the kind of magic black boxness of what marketing can and cannot do. I always like to use the comparison of, there is the what of marketing. That's what everybody's interested in, right? In the old days, it's like, what's the new banner ad look
Right.
like? Right? That's all they wanted to know. Um, and that's fine. But there are far more component parts that are interesting that marketing can draw from as well as contribute to that are around the why, right? So this is another why and what, comparison. But boy, it is so on the spot with this. To explain the why and to construct a marketing strategy that's simple to understand, that focuses on the fundamentals, not the bright, shiny objects, focuses on the outcomes that are desired, not the technology needed to get there. That's where the magic is. And that's where I found most startup founders get most value from working with a seasoned marketing person.
I love that. So let's chat as if, our listeners are that passionate founder. You have your basics, right? You have your lists, you have your offer, and you have your creative. So let's chat about the first part. Tell me about the list and why that's important.
Yeah, well, let's back up a little bit. List, offer, creative. That framework has been around the block for probably 75 years now. It came from the direct marketing world of yesteryear, which is pretty much the foundation of everything we're doing online right now.
Right.
So the list is like, who are you targeting? And that's the first thing one should consider when putting together a marketing strategy, working with a CEO or anyone on the leadership team. That's who your maybe ICP company might be, and it's who your persona on the buyer or user side might be. Has there been done research on that? Was genuine time put into researching who you're selling to? And even in today's day and age, with all of this information and best practices that have emerged, I found that a lot of leaders are really good at what they do. They've got great business ideas, okay? Really innovative, and they're just thinking so outside the box, which is fantastic. But that one basic, who is your customer, question usually gives pause to a lot of these CEOs, especially if they're challenged. And a marketing resource has the skill set to challenge a lot of those assumptions that the founder is raising money against, hiring teams against, and really trying to execute on their dream. So if you don't know who you're marketing to, might as well just call off everything because not a lot's going to happen that's going to be beneficial after that.
Yeah, I have a super entrepreneurial background, and one of my biggest fears when it came to marketing was I don't want to narrow it down so much that I cut out a potential client in this sector or that sector. So how narrow does your ICP and your persona need to be to have an effective strategy?
Yeah, I mean, narrow enough.
Yeah.
So your ICP is really the target company. When I think about people, buyers or users, I think more of persona development. Okay, and it's the people that are buying and using your product that you need to appeal to through your product development as well as your marketing messaging. So to the extent that you understand your buyers and your users in that context, then it's useful. I think there is a risk of paralysis of analysis and going too deep. Like, I don't care if someone has 4 toes or 5, unless I'm selling shoes or socks.
Right.
Let's not go that deep.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to that buyer, that persona, how much research do you do, and really where do you start in a general sense?
Well, with the business idea usually comes a framework for that persona. Okay. If you're selling aircraft parts, you're probably, a government contractor, and your biggest buyer is in the government. There are more complexities. Amazon, they've got a million different buyer personas
Yep.
that are kind of structured around what they sell. But it is really, I think my experience is that it's birthed with the founder's vision. And then it just needs to be shaped and defined a heck of a lot better. Because you hire a marketing team to start executing against campaigns, and we haven't talked about the offer and the creative yet. If they don't understand who your intended buyer or user is, then it's a lot of work for nothing. And that's frustrating work. We've all been in a place where we're running around like chickens with our heads cut off for weeks,
Yes.
trying to get a campaign out the door, right? And it flops. And it flops for really basic reasons. And 9 times out of 10, Brandon, I got to tell you, you go back to the fundamentals, and it's something as fundamental as we were saying X when our persona was wanting to hear Y.
The messaging.
Okay? So listening to your customers is the biggest obstacle. I found, at least for early stage startups, they're moving fast. They're not. They speak a customer centric narrative. Totally get it. Everybody wants to be customer centric, but actually following through with that and bringing people in and showing them prototypes of your product, offering them an MVP of your product, asking about any messaging planks or messaging platforms that you're developing, that solves a lot of problems real easy. And that's inexpensive work that could be done by most people on your marketing team. And it's fascinating. You start recording some of these customer interviews.
Yeah.
The engineering team gathers around. The CEO gathers around. It's a tiebreaker. Billy Bob over there said it should be X. Susie Snowflake said it should be Y.
Yes.
But we talked to the customer, and it's not X or Y, right?
Right.
So how many times does that happen? So that's another basic thing that it's my first recommendation to most startup founders and leaders is to talk to their intended customers if they're pre-revenue. And if they've launched, then, and you haven't done it, bring them in. And if you're doing it, do more of it, because that's going to help inform a lot of your vision and innovation moving forward.
Yeah. So in sum, what does a strong list look like?
Well, it's targeted. It's not too expensive.
Yeah.
So it's less about size than it is about quality. And a strong list is a list that will have a higher response rate than a poor list. A classic poor list is a purchased email list that you might get from a list broker, right? I think lists have gotten higher quality over the past 10 or 15 years through the advent of better technology, and more innovators are seeing the need for higher quality lists for sure. So I'm not kind of bad-mouthing any list provider. However, buying an untargeted list, let's say it's an email list without any other profile information incorporated on it. I've seen them.
Yeah.
Or, maybe there's a first and last name for every record, only about 20% of the time. I've seen those lists too. And you paid too much for it. So you got a big list. Everybody feels good about sending out to hey, CEO, we're going to send it 20,000 potential buyers,
Right. But are they qualified?
And everybody gets excited, and there's disappointment at the end of that. However, if you buy or if you develop, even better, a stronger list, purchase intent, you could buy those lists, or you could gather that on your own. There's a million ways to gather higher quality information than bought lists. I think we're all aware of those. But then you could move into the campaign with more confidence. You could start to develop the reason that you need these folks to respond. And you could develop the creative, the pictures, the videos, the words to help carry that offer to the individuals on your list. And a great list is the most important thing of those 3 attributes. And I'll just add one more thing too. There's list, offer, creative, classic, but channel should also be right after list.
All right, let's talk about the channel then. So let's say we have a super strong, narrow list of qualified leads. Talk about channel, and where do we go from there?
Yeah, what are their media consumption habits? What kind of research have you done as a marketer to research where these folks were spending time? in both their personal and their professional lives. I don't care if you're a B2B or a B2C marketer. You have to look at channels that reach your market when they're consuming information. Classic term for that is media consumption habits. That's something that AI is fantastic with. You could do a lot of robust research on media consumption habits if you've built your buyer and user personas. Upload the buyer or user persona and say, where are these folks getting their information, right? Where are these folks spending their free time? Where are they being entertained? And you could get some pretty good information there.
Yeah, I think AI, it goes the other way as well. A lot of times people would look for a solution. My persona might look for a solution. It used to be, oh, we wait till they find me in an ad. But then the advent of Google, they're Googling and using, we'd have to use SEO to be found. And now AI optimization is a really big deal so that people, they don't want to Google. They just, ask ChatGPT, where can I find the best animated video agency or whatever your company may be. And so even optimizing that channel, and then that opens up, it's not just ChatGPT, there's all the other LLMs that are going to add to the array of channels. And like you said, by the time we're done recording this conversation, there's probably going to be 5 to 10 more channels in the world of marketing.
In the spirit of keeping things simple for your CEO or for your investors or your teams, I found a lot of value in breaking just the big world of marketing and marketing impact into 2 hemispheres. One is creating demand where it doesn't exist already, and the other is capturing demand where it's demonstrating itself right now, right?
Yes.
Creating demand, I think the biggest bang for your buck as a startup. That's getting if you're familiar with AIDA, awareness, interest, desire, action, there's a million different versions of that, but I like to stay basic. If you look at AIDA, and you kind of map that down the funnel, awareness is right at the top. And building that awareness, it's harder to measure the impact. Let's say you hire a PR firm or something like that, okay? It's harder to attribute your expense. But boy, it provides so much air cover to everything else that you do in marketing. It's almost a necessity, especially if you're breaking a new category. If you're creating a category, you have to create awareness and interest and excitement around that. And the best way to do that is through more of the demand creation vehicles like public relations. There's others, but I'm keeping it simple. The other hemisphere is capturing demand. Classic search marketing, right? You're putting in a query, I'm looking for a new toy for my 4-year-old for Christmas, okay?
Yeah.
You're demonstrating demand, and a toy maker is going to be damned if they're not putting an ad in front of you.
Yep.
So when you think about bringing the organization along for the ride, a lot of times, I'll kind of walk them through those 2 hemispheres, then I'll leave it alone. And then I'll just frame my own conversations with people when I'm explaining the why, about why we are doing these different campaigns so that we can generate revenue. And it provides an instructive blueprint to help people walk through what you're doing, and it helps them be better contributors and give better feedback to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see the challenge if you're entering the marketplace, you're going to market and it's an industry that already exists. It's a category that's there. You can research competition. You already know the general persona. But when you're a startup and you are doing something completely new, breaking category, then you have to start from scratch and create that. Where have you seen? You have any examples of some great demand gen that you've worked on that really moved the needle?
Yeah, classic. Well, it's awareness gen. I would characterize it. Demand gen typically is
Sure.
all the demand yet, all that yet. So, but on creating awareness and interest, I was a chief marketing officer at a company called Constant Contact. A lot of marketers on this call might recognize them, their email marketing platform, but we were creating a category at the time. Our biggest competitor at Constant Contact back in 2005 was Outlook.
Yeah. Okay.
Our persona was a small business owner, perhaps the woman who makes beaded jewelry as a primary source of income, sells it on eBay out of her home.
Yep.
Okay. That's a solopreneur. And when you're talking to her about email marketing, why would she want to pay $40 a month for an email marketing platform when she's got Outlook?
Yep.
I don't need to explain the difference to everybody on this call. But at the time, we were creating a category, especially within the small business community. There weren't a lot of email marketing service providers out there. There wasn't a lot of education taking place. So we employed two tactics or strategic planks that were really effective for us to create that demand. And one was radio advertising. The other thing that we did, which is notable, we were on the earlier side of content marketing, right?
Right.
It's just a word now. It's part of everybody's vocabulary. At the time, nobody was talking content marketing. It's like, we need more resources for our customers. We need more information. We need to educate, right? Get them over the hump. We had hundreds of thousands of people on our email list. They weren't all customers. A lot of them were. And these are all folks who were interested in email marketing. And for the most of my tenure there, it was all educational content. It wasn't until the very end when we were trying to squeak in a couple of more commercial messages. Interested in this? Check out our email marketing service platform.
That's
that kind of thing. But it was really predicated on educating and giving our target buyers and users something of value before we even really asked for the order.
At Constant Contact, did you use Constant Contact for your email marketing?
Of course.
Okay, that's great.
We used Harp Hanks.
Okay.
Yeah. No. We were all Constant Contact all the time. It was fun as hell.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
let's go to the offer then. So you have your list, you have your channels set up. How do you find a really compelling offer?
That's I haven't found an automagical way to do that.
It's not one size fits all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of brainstorming, and again, it's all dependent on who your list is for that particular campaign, okay, or for your company in general. What's gonna help them, and that's where A/B split testing really comes in handy. Why guess for 2 weeks when you could field the simple A/B split test and get the actual answer from the people that you're targeting against?
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a little bit of that uncertainty off the table, and let's employ a test.
Yeah.
Let's put together a test plan. Let's define how we're going to measure the results of the test. Let's draw lines around it for how long the test is going to be fielded. And let's produce a report and talk about it as a leadership team and as a marketing team.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like a lot of times a CEO or someone who's very passionate about their industry or their platform can overcomplicate the idea of an offer. So what's your go-to tactics in creating an offer that's simple enough for the buyer to really click on?
So I worked with someone a while back, and she gave me some great advice. And as it turns out, it was the best advice ever. It was right around the time I was at Constant Contact. And she said, Richard, I was writing the offers and the subject lines for our email marketing and all that kind of stuff pretty conservatively, wanted to be professional, and we're reaching solopreneurs and they got to take us seriously,
Right.
and that sort of thing. And she said, Richard, think about the old days of direct mail, right? All the junk mail you got in your email box.
I still get it now.
Right? Yeah, we do a lot less, but we still get it. Now, if you look at the headlines, if you look at how those are constructed, right? These are really professional direct response marketers. They are, a little bit kooky.
Yeah.
Right? Try now, or, buy now, or, employing the use of, one of the factors of influence, right? So it might be scarcity. Okay.
Yeah.
Buy now before it's all gone.
Right.
Or, we're the experts. Demonstrate your authority. We're the experts, and we know that you need this product kind of theme. That's another one. Another one is social proof. Okay. Social proof helps drive a lot of those offers. You know what? Your neighbor uses it. You should too. That kind
Everybody's
of
doing it.
Everybody's doing it. So you should too. Right. So those are well documented. There are a number of different triggers that kind of trigger those buying decisions. But I usually begin to embed them in the communication of the offer. And that's been helpful for me, and it's simple, and people understand it.
I think another one that I see a lot is a discount or something for free that just kind of helps drive the funnel as well.
Yeah.
Do you see that being successful in your funnels?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Freemium models, I mean, they're too ubiquitous now. 9 out of 10 of your people on this right now are recognize that. Um, but uh, but yeah, it's try now, buy later.
Yeah.
All of those are traditional offers. They're usually the first ones that come to mind. But I'll tell you, in the B2B world, there is an offer that is often used. You wouldn't consider it an offer. It's click here for a demo.
Yep.
Okay. I don't think it's the strongest offer, but everybody's doing it. Every buyer knows that it's click here and get sold to.
Yes.
Okay.
Opt
Like,
in and I'll sell it to you.
exactly. But there's different variations of that. You could, I'm not the most creative person in the world, but I try to hire people on my marketing teams that are. And I always keep an open ear to folks outside of the marketing function as well.
Yes.
Some of the best ideas I've had in marketing have come out of the marketing team. So there's different ways to phrase that if you need to, but that's a valid offer as well. Is click here or call us for a demo. That's an offer, and so is get it free or buy one get one free. That's an offer. But at the end of the day, there's so many things that influence consumer behavior. Nothing is a sure thing, and testing is usually the easiest path to developing a great offer.
What are some practical steps for, doing that kind of pressure test to see whether the offer is strong enough before you move on to the creative?
Yeah. Well, so one is by interviewing your target customers.
Right.
You could ask them high level questions. Which one would encourage you to click, or which one would encourage you to buy? Okay. That's great information, and it goes a long way. Through the active testing, though, that's actually when you put your A message and your B message offer out into the into the wild.
Yep.
And a simple way to do that. There's a million complicated tools out there. Take 2 weeks that aren't seasonally different from each other, right? So you don't want to put the week before Christmas
Right.
and then the week after Christmas.
Skews
right?
things a little bit.
But take 2 similar weeks. Put one offer up on your homepage or landing page or wherever 1 week, measure the response, and then put another offer up the second week. It's a simple way. Now, you could get a lot more complex. You could do multivariate, what's called Taguchi testing. If you get enough traffic to your site, there's a million complicated ways to test, and they're all pretty good. But in the spirit of keeping things simple, especially for earlier stage founders and early marketing teams, the simple A/B test executed in that manner will do just right for you, especially if you're not doing any testing already. And it's a great way to get on the on-ramp of testing and to get your organization to the on-ramp of testing so that they could recognize the benefit.
So we have
Great question.
Yeah, so we have our solid list. You've got the channels all developed, and you have an offer ready to go that's been tested. Talking about creativity now on the creative side, it's a very noisy market. Just like there's multiple channels. How do you get great creative in the market today where there's ads, there's pictures, there's graphics, everybody's doing creative? How do you stand out?
Yeah, so the quickest answer to that is what we've been talking about. In order to develop great creative, and that's not creative that's most entertaining. Great creative is great creative that helps you fulfill your goal in your business.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you don't understand who you're marketing to, and you don't have a efficacious offer, then all the creative in the world isn't going to get you to where you need to be. Right? In the most extreme situation, this is me talking to like a high schooler.
Yeah.
Okay. In the most extreme situation, if you've got this fancy creative and it's a brilliant video and it's 3D and all this other kind of stuff, and you're sending it to perhaps a retiree, and you're selling them a new AI product for their web browsing experience, right? There couldn't be a bigger mismatch.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's an extreme version of that, but it's all that gray area that we all dance in every single day that don't really tap those extremes, but still have the same problem. If you don't know who you're marketing to and you don't have an efficacious offer, otherwise known as a reason to respond, then your creative is going to be a lot of wasted time, money, and energy. And Brandon, where do you think most marketing teams and most leadership teams start when it comes to list, channel, offer, and creative.
For me, I started with creative and thought that would be the magic pill.
Everybody wants to do it. It's natural. It's human nature, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see what the next ad looks and
Yeah.
sounds and smells.
I have this great ad. It's going to get clicks, but I don't even know who my list is.
Exactly. Or, worse yet, and, we've all seen this, I'll just volunteer. Several times in my career, the CEO will knock on my door. Richard, we don't like this. I'm like, what do you mean by we? Well, my spouse doesn't like it.
Yes.
Right? And that's a great way to kind of mirror back, hey, CEO, remember list, offer, creative? Your spouse isn't on our target list.
Right.
So I really don't care what he or she thinks. She's not the consumer. And you got to get your CEO on the page there. If you're working in an organization where that's a difficult conversation to have, I applaud your efforts getting out of bed every day.
Yeah. We were running ads for Commotion Engine, and we were working with a marketer because we realized, this is not something that you do on your own. So we outsourced the marketing department, and it was a great experience. And the thing that I noticed the most on creative, we're an ad agency. We create ads all the time. And so we figured we would start with the creative, before we hired the marketing team. And we developed some great graphics, some great videos. So the marketing team comes on board and they say, hey, we're going to start with the list. They went through the whole process that you did. And then when it got to creative, they just kind of tossed aside our really hard worked for videos and images and graphics. And they said, hey, try this instead. They threw something together and it was very rudimentary, very basic. And I was like, man, but the graphic design and the motion and the animation is not great. But those are what got clicks, because my creative director and we said we need to make sure that we A/B test, our creative versus yours, because we knew we were right, but we were very wrong. It was a lot of times those ads that you don't think would move the needle, or something that's maybe not as creative to your opinion, but it really sits with the persona and your ICP.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, it's good that you could mirror that back from a first person perspective from the agency side. That's great learning.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes both ways, right? So we have that where we can kind of make it a little bit more simple, but also there's probably some CEOs and founders that kind of undervalue the creative and just want to get going, and they're eager, but might not have thought as much about the creative.
Yeah. Well, you could get them there pretty fast when you talk about the expense, the overall expense for the full campaign, not only creative development, right? Because it's more than just creative development that you're paying for if you have a campaign that doesn't work, right?
Ouch.
It's all the people on your marketing team. It's buying slots in advertising. It's all that stuff. It's opportunity cost. It's your sales team not having any leads to chop on. I mean, it's just monumental. So if you could bring your leader back to that, it's more than just about the creative. Let's look at it a little bit more comprehensively. Stay focused on list, channel, offer, and creative, because people can't usually remember more than 3 or 4 things. Then you could beat them over the head with the same message over and over again, and keep it simple. And that way you're not talking off script or off brand, as far as, no pun intended, as far as your marketing work goes. So this all kind of folds into bringing the organization along for the ride with you. I found that's probably the most important part of CEOs and CMOs working together. I don't care what size organization, is really developing that partnership. And it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in the interview. It doesn't happen during the 10 minutes that you're shooting the crap with your CEO after the leadership team meeting every Monday, right? This is a long-term rapport building.
Yep.
And it is so essential, right? It trust. I mean, all of the Patrick Lencioni books, read them if you haven't already. That stuff goes a long way.
I think team unity is really important, and it's really an infrastructure, right? If you don't have your sales teams and your marketing teams aligned, then you're going to be blaming each other for all the problems.
Yep.
But also creating that unity, I feel like is a huge role of the CMO. Have you seen that come to fruition at any of the companies you've been with?
Yeah, creating unity, absolutely. Absolutely. And, part of that story too is just keeping your KPIs simple as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
So, it keeps everyone focused on the things that matter, and it reduces the number of rat holes or rat hole conversations you're going to engage in your leadership team meeting. Okay. If you keep people kind of centered on the blueprint that you've already agreed to with the entire team, and they're already on the bus is moving, guys.
Yeah.
Right. And we had this conversation 3 weeks ago, right? We already agreed that it's going to be this, that, and the other thing. Right. And that's the best way to do it. We've been working on the campaign. We're going to shoot that campaign out next week. Please don't ask to pull this thing back right now. And now, of course, there are valid reasons for that. But to the extent that you could keep things on the simpler side so that people understand your why and understand the tactics behind all of the work that you're doing, the supporting tactics that support the strategy,
Yeah.
that is so important. And it's kind of cliche at this point. Everybody talks, marketing and sales need to get together better, and the CMO and the CEO need to get along better. It's all true. As much as you read or hear or experience that, I mean, how many of you have said, yeah, I've known that for 20 years and it's kind of still a challenge.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
like you said, the bus analogy, the bus is moving and we're all in it. It'd be better if you're in your seat, buckled up, ready to go, rather than hanging out the window trying to cause friction.
Right. Exactly.
So at Commotion Engine, we're a lot of times working with the marketing teams at, SaaS and healthcare and other tech platforms, really clarify and scale their creative. And we're coming into the process, towards the end. So out of your experience at Constant Contact and other industries that you've worked in, what's the experience been like hiring agencies for video or graphic design? And how has that helped or hindered you from all your expectations?
Yeah, the agencies that are a little bit ahead of the curve and understand the process have been more successful for me and my teams. Those agencies who haven't done the appropriate research or asked the appropriate questions, it's a cluster.
Yeah.
It's really, it turns into a nightmare. I think that I've worked with a couple of agencies where they were informed, they were hungry for the information, and gosh golly, when a really good agency like yours comes in towards the tail end and they understand the construct of what you're trying to achieve and how you're trying to achieve it, all those brilliant creative ideas start hitting the table and it's like gas on the fire.
Yeah.
It is brilliant. But imagine throwing it on the wrong flame.
Yeah.
If they're not, right? I mean, come on. So, gas on the right fire is so important. And great agencies can deliver that and deliver that delight when they're presenting the different concepts. And you got, 1 to 3 to choose, and you're sitting there with your CEO and maybe your VP of sales or your CRO.
Yeah.
And you guys are kind of judging them. Isn't it great when you love all 3 concepts?
Yes.
And the biggest argument is pick which one out of the 3 that you love.
That's a dream, right?
And
yeah.
That's a dream. That's a dream. It doesn't always happen, but good creative agencies deliver that experience more often than not.
I think some of the best creative agencies really create more of a partnership with the marketing department instead of just a vendor, right? So you can tell me, I want this video, we produce a video and then hands off, but really more of that partnership. And like you said, understanding the process, understanding, doing the research, like who is watching this or viewing this, and what's the list like, and really what's the offer, and how do we optimize that, creating A/B options for the client. I think that makes all the difference instead of just handing over a video file and a peace out, hoping it works.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's just getting that creative love is just so. I mean, that's what sends chills up my spine. Is the good creative talent doing that, and in the spirit of partnership, I tell every one of the vendors that I hire, nearly everyone, agency or otherwise, you're part of our marketing team now. You are invited to our marketing weekly meetings. Period.
Love that.
And that's partnership. If you're having your marketing weekly and it's like, well, we got to tell the vendor to do that, or we got to tell the vendor to do that. Oh, I'm going to tell the vendor to do that. It's the wrong direction for all reasons we've already discussed. It's not a partnership, right? all of a sudden you're putting yourself in the role of the creative. Like, why do we hire this agency? Because they know Photoshop? I mean,
Yeah,
in the
right.
old day, right? I mean, it's just like you could get a lot more out of an agency if you put a lot more in.
Love that. Well, once you have the list and the channel and the offer and the creative defined, and now your campaign's running well, what's next?
Count the dollars, baby.
Yeah.
No,
Bring in
you
the
know,
money.
and yeah. Well, it's tracking,
Yeah.
right? It's doing the debrief after every campaign. What can we do better
Yeah.
next time? What can we repeat next time? Don't get too comfortable with where you're at, because I guarantee it's going to change. What worked this week isn't going to work the same week next year, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be, again, another overused word. You need to be agile. You need to keep your ear to the ground, and you can't rest on your laurels. You're going to have really successful campaigns. I haven't met a marketing leader yet who's had all of their campaigns that they would call a success. We all fail. And failure is part and parcel to A/B testing. Just by definition, there's a winner and there's a loser. Okay. So, you got a budget for the loss. You got to have a test budget. That's a different topic.
Yeah.
But after the campaign is executed, you can't manage what you can't measure. And measuring that campaign from the top of the funnel down to the bottom of the funnel, but really staying focused on the part of the funnel that the campaign was focused on, is work that needs to be done. And you should do that before you move on to your next campaign. And sometimes it's hard. Marketing teams are moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And a lot of times that's a luxury at companies, not something that they could afford themselves.
Yeah, I love what you said. It's not really a failure, because that's the whole idea of A/B testing. So, is there a campaign that you ran that did not go as expected, and what did you learn from that experience? Because I think every time I've run a campaign or created content for a client and didn't turn out as, there's always been a massive learning that really takes us to the next level. So, what's an experience like that for you?
Yeah, best illustrative experience that I could use is, back to Constant Contact. It was shortly before we hit the radio in 3 different cities. Okay, big radio campaign wrapped with other channels, yada, yada. So we were so confident because internally behind the doors, we're all like, we help our customers stay top of mind with their clients.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what top of mind
Yeah.
means, right?
Yeah.
So we did some user testing. I did a focus group, old school focus group. We brought groups of 10 business owners in, of different profiles of who we were targeting, right? These are all solopreneurs for the most part.
Yeah.
Some of them have had bigger companies. And we read the radio script, or we had the professional talent record it, and we played it. 9 out of 10, maybe it was 8 out of 10. I'll never forget. Didn't know what top of mind meant.
Wow.
Okay? So back to, 20 minutes ago in our conversation about getting in front of your customers, asking these fundamental questions.
Yeah.
This was a big one,
Yeah.
right? They didn't know what top of mind meant. It was like,
It's huge.
holy cow. It's part of, my parlance. Most marketers know what top of mind means. Most people do.
But
I always thought.
solopreneurs wouldn't have a clue.
They didn't back in 2005.
Right. Well, I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's a big part of, even when we're working with clients, is we're seeing the scripts come in and they have, abbreviations and terminology that really applies to that sector. So, for example, in a SaaS company, anyone that works in tech would understand this, but would your persona? And that's a big part of like helping that process. So I love that. But you don't know until you know. And so that's great
Right.
that you had the focus group to really make that happen.
Yeah. You got to ask the question. It's really funny what happens when you ask open-ended questions.
It is.
It's you get so much usable information. Man, I've taken that out of my marketing life and really employed that in my personal life as well. I just simply ask more questions. And when I coach CEOs, which I'm lucky enough to do often, I remind them that asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a simple reminder, but so many CEOs need that reminder more often than you think.
I love that. I think that asking for help is the most vulnerable and transparent. And like you said, it is not a sign of weakness, but it's how you grow, because nobody can do it all on their own.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And those, it's so fun to see the light bulb go off too. Like, it's like, you know what? Great reminder.
Yeah.
Right. And then, maybe over the next 3 to 6 months, you see your CEO reaching out or joining a CEO group or, something like that. So, those are all good things, and CEOs need to climb out of their seats more often. It's hard because they're building and growing the companies. But to get outside perspective, I think is one of the most valuable things a leader can do, CEO or otherwise.
And now, the clarity check.
So our first clarity check question is, what to you is the most underrated marketing channel of 2025?
Radio.
It still exists.
And it still exists. It's underrated merely because the online channels are so prevalent and easy to employ. Right? There's a lot of platforms that make it really easy for you to push your ads out and to target them, right? There's an infinite number of platforms. Radio advertising takes more work, a little bit more expensive. There's a lot more waste. I get it. But you can select your markets strategically depending upon what you're marketing, and garner a lot of benefit that's going to last not only during the term of your campaign, but 6 months after. And it provides brilliant air cover to everything else that you're doing.
And if you're on the radio, you automatically have some idea that this is a leader in that market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. It I think it comes with authority.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's a book or resource that you always recommend to leaders?
There is a book that I bought for my peers and my senior leadership team members, and it's called Customers Included.
Okay, that's good.
It is by Mark Hurst and Phil Terry. They wrote this book about 10 years ago. It's still relevant.
Yeah.
And it is about getting your customers involved in how you think about your own business and your go-to-market plans.
Okay.
It's an easy book to read. You could read it before lunchtime on a Saturday morning.
Okay.
And cannot recommend it enough. It is really a good read, and I always fall back on that anytime I'm in a corner looking for newer, better, faster, stronger ways that I might have forgotten in the past.
Back to the basics. I'm going to have to get that book.
Yep.
What's one marketing fad that you think will disappear in the next couple of years?
Well, the biggest marketing fad right now is AI, and that ain't disappearing in 5 years.
Right, probably not.
So what's the one that's going to disappear in 5 years? That's a really good question. I don't think it's email marketing. Email marketing is here to stay. It's not SMS.
I think it's going back up. In
yeah.
fact, email and SMS becoming more popular.
Oh yeah, yep. Maybe some advertising and some of the bigger social networks. I think consumer behavior is likely to change. There was a world without Facebook. There will be a world without Facebook.
No
when
way.
that happens, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's where, people of my generation spend all of their social media time. That's where we connect with our friends and family. But there haven't been many other solutions that have been propped up that can take that time and attention away from folks like me.
Yeah.
There will be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always innovation on the horizon, and right now it's I think it's over relied on, but it's an efficacious channel. They make it easy to buy ads. They make it easier to kind of find who you're targeting. I think it's a great channel. All the social platforms are great channels for marketers if they help you reach your intended buyer or user.
Well, it's just generational too. I mean, once Facebook phases out, then you'll have the Instagram generation, then the TikTok and Reddit generation. I mean, it's just really who that target is.
Yeah, that digital divide. I mean, it's happening for, I've always talked about the digital divide, but I mean, now I'm really I'm on the cusp of being part of that, right?
Yeah.
In the next 15 years, it's like, holy cow. It's like, where's Facebook?
Yeah,
We're all my friends,
It's gone.
Yeah. So, but Though that's an interesting question. I'm not sure if anybody can really accurately answer that with confidence.
Okay.
So that's where you
Yeah.
see my trepidation. And
No,
there's
sure.
just so much. And it gets back to the bright, shiny objects, right? That's a bright, shiny object question.
What's one of the buzzwords that drive you the most crazy in marketing?
Well, in the past, attribution,
Yeah.
hate it. Demand gen, I don't like the way it's used.
Yeah.
It's overgeneralized. Usually if you see demand gen and things like role descriptions or whatever, I mean, sometimes they're talking about a CMO, which is far more than just traditional demand gen, right? It's a misunderstood word, and it's way overused. It's might as well just say, I'm looking for a marketer.
Yeah.
Like, who wrote this?
Yeah, who made this up? That's great.
Yeah.
All right, last one. What does clarity mean to you in one word?
Simplicity.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the phrase, keep it simple, stupid, and I feel like that always works better than the complications because the world is full of chaos already.
Exactly. And if things are simple, then that, at least for me, provides more clarity. And when things are simple, then anyone could start to think creatively around that. Okay? It's not dictating what it shall be as a marketer.
Yeah.
It's more, let's put the work in to make things simple so that things are clear, so that then we can work with everyone that we need to work with to get the best product out the door at the end of the day.
Awesome. Well, Richard, thank you so much for your time. It's been great having you on the Clarity Code.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Richard himself said that when one of your campaigns don't go well, it's not really a failure, it's just part of that learning process. None of us will ever arrive and be too good for wisdom or advice from others. I love what he said about always being willing to ask for help. It's kind of like vehicles that have blind spot indicators and cameras. It helps you see what you can't see yourself. So focusing on wisdom from others, having a mentor, reading the books, and always learning is going to help you be a better marketer, which is going to help your campaigns and the success of your company. So don't be afraid to ask for help. We all have blind spots and we need someone to point them out for us. That'll help in our marketing and in our personal lives. Thanks for watching this episode of The Clarity Code. We'll see you next time.
Catch the Clarity Code on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.